Hey y'all, how you doing today? What you're looking at is the brake drum on my 65 Plymouth Barracuda. Just beyond that, right there, that is the center section, the 8 3/4 center section that is going to come out. That's got to come out because I'm building a rear axle. Actually, there's the end of that rear axle. There's some of it right there. That is going to get rebuilt. That center section is getting rebuilt, and it's going to go back in that housing right there. As you can see right there, there's a little bit of it right there. But I wanted to pass along this little tech tip about this style of rear axles here. They have this these earlier 8 3/4. They have this keyed a keyed hub that sits on here, sits on the axle. The axle is actually tapered and has a keyway and a key. And the hub here has a corresponding keyway that fits on there. And then you have this nut, gets tightened down, torqued down, and then you have the cotter pin that goes in there. What I'm going to show you here. Now, normally, what you would do if you wanted to get the brake drum off, you would have a special tool. You would remove this cotter pin. You'd remove the cotter pin. You would remove the nut here, the castellated nut, and you would have a special tool that would go on here and basically would pull the hub, the brake drum, all together off in one motion. Okay, you would just basically push it off. Well, I have another idea, and as a matter of fact, it works. So, watch this. You hear that? This brake drum is loose. I'll tell you what. Let me set you all up somewhere so you can see a little bit better what I'm seeing, and you can watch me pull the brake drum off. Okay, let's see. Alright y'all, we're back. Had to go get a hammer, but you can see the brake drum. I'm pulling it off by hand, just wiggling it back and forth. Got my fingers on the edge and just pulling and just working it off. Now, normally this drum would be so pressed so tightly on here that you wouldn't be able to get it off. But what I did was I took a grinding bit and I ground out inside here and also inside these holes here where they slip over the studs, the wheel studs. All right. See right there? Yeah, and it doesn't take a lot, okay? It's not like you have to sit here for hours grinding on it or something like that. It just takes a little bit of grinding, a few minutes, and then before you know it, you've got that cleared off and it's ready to rock and roll, okay? Now, what we've got to do in order to get this axle the rest of the way out is I've got to take this nut loose, and I've got to take the brake line loose back here, and then cap that off, and then take a slide hammer and work that back and forth and get this whole assembly to come out. This comes out with the brake backing plate. But this is, with that ground out there on the brake drum, I can access all of my brake components. The adjuster wheel down here, as you can see. Tell you what, let me turn another light on so you can see a little bit better. You can see everything right in there. Wheel cylinder, the whole 9 yards. So see, this is just a lot nicer to do that than, you know, having that special tool, having to go find it and rent it or borrow it or buy it from somebody or something like that. Which those tools, those pullers, those hub pullers, they're not very common. Okay, You know, and if you do find them used, they're usually beat to death. So, but, excuse me. I'm going to go ahead and get this hub, get this nut broken loose. Okay, but why don't I get this nut broken loose and get this all taken loose and get this slid out and let you see a little bit more. But first, we're going to go over here on the other side of the car, and I'm going to show you something else. Okay. Yes, my garage is a bit cluttery. Now, these are the axles, like what I was talking about, okay? There's some of these axles, see? And this, and these are just like these here. So, that's how they basically work, okay? Now, these bearings here, they're supposed to be packed full of grease, just like, you know, the pasty kind of grease, just like what's in the front wheel bearings on most older cars and trucks. Okay? So, but I want to take this time to tell you a couple of things. Of course, you know, right now, we're in the midst of this coronavirus. It's really, really, really serious. You know, I'm going to crack jokes about it. A lot of other people are going to crack jokes about it. You know, but keep in mind, when people crack jokes about stuff that is serious, we're trying to lighten the mood, okay? All right, so, you know, let's try it all to get through. Let's all try to get through this together. And, you know, a few things are, you know, wash your hands. Don't be touching your face. If you go into very public places, keep, you know, some social distance between you and the persons around you. If you're headed down a very narrow aisle and somebody's coming down through there and they, you know, you might want to go and turn around and go the other way or something. You know, the whole toilet paper thing, oh my God. I mean, come on, let's all grow up here, folks, okay? Let's try to be adults here about a lot of this stuff. I mean, because, geez, we're talking, you know, y'all are fighting over, I mean, I've seen videos of people fighting over toilet paper. I mean, we've been around, people have been around a long, long, long time, and toilet paper's only been around, you know, not that long. So, but, let me show you something here on this axle. It's about mocking things up together and making sure they're going to work. Okay, now this is the other end of this rear axle that's going to go in my truck, my 92 D150. Okay, this is 8 3/4, and as you can see, I've got one axle in here. Okay. The deal is with most 8 3/4 is that they all have either one of two lug patterns, 5 on 4 or 5 on 4 1/2. That presents a little bit of a problem. This truck has 5 on 5 1/2, so I'm going to have to use adapter plates. Okay, but that's not a big deal. I mean, I can get adapter plates. It's not impossible. But what I can do is I'm having to use, I want to use this backing plate, which is a drum brake backing plate. Now, before anybody says anything, I know it's drum brakes. There's disc brake kits out there I can put on this, and they stop better, and they'll, you know, dissipate heat better, and etc., etc., etc. That is correct. You are absolutely correct in every way. However, one problem is we're talking about money. Okay? Now, these backing plates I had laying around. Those drums over there, I had those laying around. Okay? So, we're talking about money here. All the bits and pieces, the wheel cylinders, the shoes, everything, all the hardware, everything to go in there is going to be less than, for both sides, is less than $100. You know, do a disc brake setup on this is probably going to cost me around $300. Yeah, and that's me really playing my cards very carefully. If I play my cards very carefully, it'd be $300, maybe $400, really. But I have got the axle mocked up in here with this drum brake backing plate. This is a 11 by 2.5 inch. That's for 11 by 2.5 inch brake shoes. So is these brake drums. However, these brake drums, I'll show you something here. They've been turned. Aha, they've been machined. They haven't been cleaned yet, but I'm going to mock these things up on this axle so that you all can see what you need to do in order to make sure that all this stuff works together. Because see, this axle came from this axle housing. This backing plate came from the 9 1/4 that was under my truck. These drums came from a different 8 1/4 rear axle with the same 5 on 4.5 inch lug pattern. See, Dodge trucks before, oh, was it 86, 87? They got the, Dodge trucks before 86 or 87, they had the 5 on 4.5 inch lug pattern. So I need to mock this up. So let me get you all set up here so you can see what I'm doing. Okay? I need to mock all this stuff up together and make sure this stuff is going to work together. I don't want it having issues or problems. Oops, sorry about that. I can get my camera to cooperate. And it doesn't look like it. Of course not. Here. Of course not. Gravity is working against me, of course, as usual. Okay, there we go. Alright, so got the axle in, got the backing plates on, and got the brake drum. So I'm going to just take this. That light little rubbing you hear is because the axle is really not bolted in. Okay, so, but I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Real quick, I'm going to get a couple of these little nuts right here, run them down on here, and get this whole assembly here tightened down, and get this located. Okay, so this will be just a minute. I'll be right back. All right, y'all, we're back, and as you can see, let me adjust the camera just a little bit here. All right, as you can see, I went ahead, I got a couple of nuts, like I said, and I ran them down here on these studs, tightened them down real quick. No big deal, kind of quick and dirty. Brake drum, like before. Alright, I see what's going on. Okay, this is actually pretty good. I know you heard some noise there where the brake drum is actually rubbing a little bit, but actually that rubbing is actually just the dirt that's in this groove right here. Okay, so there's a groove right there, and it's full of dirt and rust and corrosion and everything like that. I may also go and take the grinder and just very lightly come around here and just grind a little bit off this backing plate here, just to cut that down. But also too, this axle is not completely secure. I mean, I can move it around a lot, quite a bit right there. So, but this definitely gives me hope that I can get this all sorted out. As a matter of fact, the way that the gravity is pulling this axle pulls that end of the axle down, so this end of the axle is tilted up. And matter of fact, all the dirt that was in here from like dirt daubers and everything else is all right there on the backing plate. So it works, okay? But that's what I'm talking about. Mocking things up to make sure that they're going to work, okay? So like I said, we got backing plates from one truck, drums from another, a rear axle from a Chrysler C-body. Yeah, this is from a big Chrysler Newport or something, early 70s. So, and then we're going to have a center section from a Dodge A100 van. How about that? So there you go. All right. Okay. I'm going to carry on and let's see. Got this part done. So like I said, I'm going to carry on here, and I'm going to go ahead and get some tools over there and get that axle out. Okay? And let's see. Why don't I show you the result? Yeah, why don't I show you all the results when I get all of that out? Okay? Hold on, be right back. Alright, y'all. I'm back, and I have just got the axle pulled out using this slide hammer you see right here. Let me turn this down here so you can see a little bit better. All right, yeah, you see the slide hammer? Yeah, that whole arrangement right here. It's very easy to do it with a slide hammer. If you don't have one of these, I would, and if you're going to do lots of mechanic work, I would strongly suggest getting one. I've been checking on one myself. I don't have one myself either, and I've been checking on them myself. They're been seeing some of them going for about $100 and pretty well equipped. I think at Northern Tools. So anyway, I forgot to mention earlier, there is no access hole here to get to the nuts that hold on the backing plate. As you can see, can you see the holes I'm talking about? Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, you see there's one of the holes right there. There's 5 of them on each backing plate. So you have to get them off, those nuts off of there. And then once you get them off, then the backing plate is ready to come on over there. You just use the slide hammer to pull this out a little bit. Now, I'm not going to disconnect the parking brake cable. It's not necessary. All I got to do is get this thing out, this axle out just a little bit. As you can see, it's turning, so it's out of the center section right there. I'm sorry. There we go. Yeah, it's out of the center section. Now I got to get the drive shaft. I got to get the drive shaft broken loose, and I've got to get the all of those nuts off of the center section, and then pry that son of a gun out of there and wiggle it and work it and get it out of there. Okay, so anyway, go ahead, and I'm going to end this video here. I'm going to be bringing you another update, though, probably very soon about this. So when I get this out, I'm going to be taking it all apart, cleaning it up, and getting it ready to rebuild. So, all right. Oh, one little trick or a tech tip I wanted to pass along. If you are, this works especially great on like your front wheel drive stuff, or if you're like me, you're working on something like this. You can use this kind of arrangement that runs down to the floor to stabilize the axle, and then you can break the nut loose. Okay, if you don't, you can, you know, put the wheel back on and then, you know, hopefully get to the nut with a socket, you know, with the wheel on. If you can't, then you'll probably have to do something like this. But either way, okay, so I've got work to do, and I'm going to catch y'all later. All right, I appreciate y'all for watching. Thank you all for watching. Thank you very much. Please do be safe and be careful out there. That coronavirus is very deadly. It's very catchy. I think here in my area, in my area here, I was looking, and we have, I think, 6 confirmed cases in East Tennessee. So just be really careful. You know, wash those hands, man. You know, do like what your mama told you, or what they told you in 1st grade or kindergarten. You know, wash those hands, keep them clean. All right, see, mine need to be a little bit of cleaning right now, but I'm out here in the garage, okay, and I'll be washing them later. So, also too, thank you very much for watching again, and God bless. And if you have any questions, comments, ideas, anything, put them down below. I'll do my very best to get back to you, and I mean that. All right. Thank you again.